Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul is officially sanctioned as a boxing match. It's going to go on their records. The Texas Commission has officially sanctioned it. Surprised? I'm Paulie. This is Paulie TV. So the Texas Commission has officially sanctioned Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. My initial thoughts are that maybe they're getting a lot of blowback for calling it an exhibition, because everybody keeps talking about the result of this fight. What will the result of this fight be? What will happen? Who will win this fight? And then people get the word that it's not really a fight and it's an exhibition and there is no result, and possibly there was too much blowback. Now, what I heard through the grapevine is that it was Tyson who didn't want it to be an official boxing match, but maybe they may have paid him more money. I don't know. This is just my speculation as far as what happened after that. Maybe they paid him more money to, to allow it to be an official boxing match, because otherwise it may have hurt sales and it may have hurt the promotion of this quote-unquote event that now is a fight. Having said that, how can you sanction a fight? Granted, Texas does whatever they want. Don't get me wrong. Before I even say this disclaimer, Texas always does whatever they want. Great fans. I've worked in Texas many times. Amazing boxing fan base. One of the best states in the country, in the United States. If you haven't been there for a big fight, Texas has amazing boxing fans. But the commission, always shiesty, always shady. Doesn't change. Typically difficult to get a decision on the road, as I found out and many others have found out, and just weird stuff happens. So with that disclaimer, they're making the fight with 14-ounce gloves. Typically, heavyweights fight with 12-ounce gloves. Okay, you say only 2 ounces, but honestly, man, those 2 ounces still make a little bit of a difference. Nonetheless, guys that size will hurt each other even with 14-ounce gloves. And 2-minute rounds. How do you make that fight a 2-minute rounds and still say it's an official match? Male professional boxing rules are always 3-minute rounds. I don't understand how you can make it 2-minute rounds and still expect to be taken seriously from the verdict that it's going to be a professional boxing match. I don't see how you can do that. And again, Texas does whatever they want. Boxing itself changes the rules whenever they want. They rules for me, not for thee, or thee, not for me. And then, in 1 second they're officially making this rule, and in another second they're pulling it back, depending on where the money is. And in this particular situation, obviously, it's all about the money, right? So what does the money have to do with it? Obviously, more people are intrigued now that it's a real fight, of course. But also, you can bet on the result. You can't bet on an exhibition because they're not really official results. So being able to bet on the exhibition, being able to bet on this as a fight and not an exhibition now brings in a ton more money. So they must have probably given Mike more money to officially agree to an official fight. He was already making guaranteed $5 million before, so I don't know what his guarantee will be now, but I have to assume that everybody has a price and they're paying Mike more money in order to accept what I had heard was something he didn't want to do before, which was making an official boxing match and not an exhibition. My thoughts have always been, I'm a bit worried for Tyson. He's 58 years old come June, so he'll get in the ring as a 58-year-old man. I know there's a lot of people saying, oh, Mike will just hit him once and knock him out, and that's always the case when you talk about an underdog in the past even. Or what if he lands just one shot? We've always talked about that. Arturo Gatti against Floyd Mayweather, I remembered, and many other fights come to mind where it's like, oh, what if he lands one shot? The underdog, or what? Typically it doesn't happen, and typically even if it does happen, the favorite gets up off the canvas and wins anyway. That's typically what happens in those situations where people always say, oh, what if he lands one shot? I'm a bit torn on this, because I like Jake and what he's done for fighters and what he's done for boxers in general. He's taken care of a lot of the fighters he signed, all the fighters he signed. He takes very good care of them. And in a business that doesn't take care of fighters, I really appreciate seeing that. He really means well towards the sport, even though, of course, he's got his own personal plan, which is a bit selfish in some ways. And he's, obviously you have to be a bit selfish in the way you pursue goals and dreams, even in boxing. Having said that, this is a tough one, man, for me to swallow, because Mike Tyson is one of the living legends, maybe the biggest living legend in the sport of boxing right now, living legend. Him and maybe Ray Leonard, are the two biggest living legends of boxing. And so to do this to a man who's already been inducted into the Hall of Fame, put him in this position for, of course, the clout of the result of this fight that you're searching for, way past his prime. I've heard Tyson just, basically in his spare time just smokes weed and does shrooms and just kind of chills out and just lives a comfortable life. And obviously now he's going to have to go back and start training. But, this is a man who's in his late 50s and hasn't really lived the life of a pro athlete in a long time. And it's kind of softened up in some ways. So in a few months, is he going to really be able to get ready for a fight of this magnitude? Yes, Jake isn't of the level, of course. He's not world-class level as a boxer, but he's been boxing for many years now, and years enough to make him a threat. He's very strong. He's very big. And the energy level of a 58-year-old man is a bit at risk here. You're not going to have that same, head movement Tyson. That's how energy burning style is not going to be really the same. Going to 2-minute rounds may help Tyson because the rounds are shorter and he may, his conditioning may not be able to get there at 58 years old. I just worry about what if he gets hit. Everybody says, what if Mike lands a shot? What if Mike gets hit? Jake punches really, really hard. He's in a prime of his life at 27, 28 years old. He's got more energy. Tyson, to land that shot, has to have that explosive first step to close the gap. I don't know that at 58 years old you have that explosive step. Mike didn't really have it at the end of his life, at the end of his boxing career, boxing life, when he was boxing against McBride, I remember. It looked like he just couldn't close that gap and get that explosive first step in there. I worry about it, because Mike is one of those guys, and I'm born in 1980s. Anybody my age and older, kind of has this memory of this Tyson mystique that is just amazing, and I think it never leaves your mind, so to speak. And I think even guys older than me can remember that, and I think guys even younger than me, they don't remember, they don't have a memory of it, but I think just based on what they've heard constantly in the highlights they've seen, even they kind of relate to it, right? So you have this, and it almost puts you in denial. The Vegas odds makers have Jake as a clear favorite. He's minus 210 to start the odds. I think the odds could shift because a lot of money, a lot of people really do believe in Tyson being able to do this. Tyson is plus 170 right now, but I really could see the odds favoring Tyson by the time we get to fight night on July 20th, because there's so much Tyson fans that really believe Mike can still do this even at this age, despite the way he's been living prior to this training camp and whatnot. I worry, man. I worry. And I say that as a person who likes Jake, respects what Jake's done, but at the same time, I'm boxing first. This is going to make Jake the biggest Bond villain, so to speak, in history of boxing. I mean, you knock out a living legend like this, that's my worry, and Jake really seems to, he's been trying to get the love of the boxing fan base, and he may have said, I can't get it. People just aren't giving it to me, so I'm just gonna relish this role of a villain and knock out this guy who everybody in boxing has absolutely loved, and I'm gonna just take that and run with it, and he'll have a bullseye on his back from then on, but he'll attract that much more attention and that much more star power, because even the casuals really rate Mike Tyson even in this moment. Granted, the casuals' boxing opinion shouldn't really matter, but the casuals will really drive the sales of this fight more so than anything else, and even they will really feel like, wow, what a knockout. Jake knocked out Mike Tyson. The casual, I mean, I can see a lot of boxing fans don't really get that the guy's 58 years old and is at risk here, let alone the casuals. They really don't understand that. So if Jake knocks out Mike Tyson, the casuals will be the one to drive the momentum even further. Like, whoa, he knocked out Mike Tyson. Because they have no clue whether with a 25-year-old Mike Tyson or 58-year-old Mike Tyson and the major difference that is, So, I don't know, it's a little bit sad to see this. I know Mike doesn't need the money, and I can see Jake kind of like fished them in and reeled them in to do this, and my initial thoughts are it's a risk for Mike Tyson. Yes, he can land the big shot. I can see even if he does land the big shot and drops Jake, it would be amazing to see, but I could still see Jake getting up and stopping him. Again, there's nothing that can really describe the difference in youth energy, man. I mean, you have to kind of have done it to understand that mid-20s energy, training, regardless of the level that Mike Tyson was on, which was at one time the baddest man on the planet. He's 58 years old and has not been living the life. Personally, me, I know a lot of you will think riding with Mike and think Mike wins the fight. I would be happy. I think it would be incredible to see Mike win the fight. I think it would be. But I would be happy to see Mike not get hurt. That's my thoughts on the fight. And I know a lot of you guys are going to say, whoa, you nuts, man. Mike will knock him out. I guess we'll see. I mean, I'll tell you what, it wouldn't disappoint me to see Mike get that result. But the result I'm thinking about is probably happening is the one the Vegas odds makers see more than anybody else. So be careful with the suckers bet of just betting Tyson with your heart. Because I personally don't see the possibility of Mike winning this. Jake is really, really smart in the way he's approaching this. My initial thoughts to this, I just hope Mike doesn't get hurt. That's it. And I say that as a person who, Mike Tyson was one of my early childhood heroes. I mean, you had Diego Maradona, Michael Jordan, Wayne Gretzky, Mike Tyson, Hulk Hogan, Mr. T. Those are like my first memories of having real life heroes, and those people were like superheroes, and Mike was one of them. I can remember Mike Tyson's Punch Out actually coming out on Nintendo Land and being of the age that was like the target age. I was 6 years old when Tyson's Punch Out came out for Nintendo. I was 7 years old when Tyson and Spinks fought, which is my first real big boxing memory. I can remember the Tyson mystique, but I also understand real life, and that it's not that Tyson. It hasn't been that Tyson in a long time, and the man is 58 years old. A competitor is always a competitor, though. I'm sure he's you know, once he accepted the terms of this, I'm sure he's super competitive, and I'm sure he's super motivated, and he'll get back in camp regardless of the way he's been living, and he'll train hard for it. But on fight night, I just hope everything goes okay for both guys and nobody gets hurt. I'm Paulie Malignaggi. This is Paulie TV. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys think I'm out of my mind for my thoughts, if you guys agree with me. What you just think of the whole night in general, because Serrano-Taylor is also the co-main event. I feel like they should do the 3-minute rounds since Tyson and Jake Paul ain't doing 3-minute rounds. Again, I'm Paulie Malignaggi. It's Paulie TV. I'll talk to you guys later.